I have driven this a couple of times now, but very excited to drive the Honda Passport TrailSport again. We're doing a little bit of off-road, but this time we're gonna get a chance to drive it on-road too. I have so little turnaround between this capture of footage and my editors having to put this out on YouTube, so I'm not going to talk about all the cool accessories. I'm not going to talk about the way that it's designed like a backpack. If you guys want to see a lot of that cool stuff, then I'm going to add a link in the body of this description for a first look where I go into all of that kind of stuff. But it's really cool. This bigger than its past generation mid-size two-row SUV that you can put 2 adult-sized mountain bikes in and get a ton of interior cubby space gets powered by a new 3.5-liter V6 engine. For its class, that is a good amount of power. This V6 is naturally aspirated, which I love, so you're not really contending with any turbo lag and that kind of drama. It is mated to a 10-speed automatic. I thought initially that that might be a little bit problematic. There are just a lot of gears to sort of go through and select. I think that's going to be a little bit better for us when we're driving on the road, make it more efficient, which is ultimately kind of what you want with a vehicle like this. If you are off-roading and you are looking for a little bit more power, you do get paddle shifters on the TrailSport, and you can put it in a sport, like a manual mode, and just do it yourself if you feel like it's not finding the exact gear that you're looking for in that exact moment. Your approach and departure angles, breakover, are all going to be a little bit better than on the previous generation Passport. That's thankfully due in part to these super short overhangs that it gets. It does get a little bit more ground clearance, but you guys, it's less than an inch, and I'm going to say that that is mostly because of the general grabber all-terrain tires that come on 18-inch wheels for you. In this area, I do think that Honda could have done just a teeny bit better, maybe just a little bit more, get up there with the outback wilderness, but you know, here's where we are, and I really don't have that much to complain about. These wheels are really cleverly designed and have a recessed valve stem, so you're not going to kind of knock your valve stem off if you get kind of close to something, and plus you have your terrain monitor here. So I think that's a really clever design, approved by Lynn. Of course, you want a lot of protection underneath you when you are off-roading, and the Passport gives you that. 4mm thick steel skid plates on transmission, on the fuel tank, up front. I mean, honestly, like, those are beefy. Like, I compared those to the TRD Pro skid plates, and these are more formidable. So let's talk about Honda's iVTM4 torque vectoring system. To me, in the all-wheel drive category, it's one of the best in the business. And literally, I am down here for no other reason other than I think these wheels are really cool. So that iVTM4 system is gear-based. It is not brake-based, which to me makes it, I think, just even a little bit more predictable and reliable and good. It doesn't sort of crap out on you. It's an excellent system. It can send 70% of your torque back to the rear wheels and 100% of that 70% to either the right or left side. So if you're looking at 262 pound-feet of torque, maybe my math is incorrect, but that's about 186 pound-feet of torque to even a single wheel. That's going to get you out of some really sticky situations. And honestly, I've said it before, when it comes to this vehicle and this particular torque vectoring system, I think this is as close as you can get to a locker, and I stand by that. The suspension has been redesigned as well. It gets more rigid mounting points, you get steel control arms, you get aluminum knuckles. So at the same time that you are adding strength, you are also removing weight, so adding lightness. The way that suspension is all set up is lower in this vehicle. So what that means is you have a little bit of a larger cargo area. Best in class. So this is a hill that we're going up. The descent is pretty decent. And again, I'm feeling plenty of power with the V6. I mean, it's making really easy work of this, which doesn't surprise me at all. Again, I've got a little bit of a blind crest over here, and this camera makes it so easy. I know exactly where I am. You can tow up to 5,000 pounds, which for this segment is actually a pretty good amount of weight. And you have legitimate recovery hooks up front. I don't know if you guys saw that recent stunt video that Honda did with like the hanging of the 3 Passports back to back to back on a crane. We're not able to tow here, but using this and using that tow hitch, they were able to do that. So I'm guessing that means that it's pretty tough. Trail mode on this vehicle, I think, is absolutely stellar. Again, it's engaging that IVTM4 program and really helping you kind of figure out which wheel needs more traction. But also, again, you've got this camera here that's got your guidelines, so you're not going to affect the body of your car. Honestly, I think this rides really nicely too for off-roading, a lot of bumps and maybe a little bit of washboard or some whoops. It really does kind of absorb all of that stuff. We're mostly doing slow speed, kind of rock crawling stuff.
Perfect. Amazing job, Lynn.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate you. I have a whole cheering section. It's amazing. I have driven this in other environments. If you want to check that out, in Moab, had a great opportunity to drive it in a lot of different off-road terrains, and I really am impressed with the suspension feel and the ride quality off-road. There are 6 additional drive modes. There's normal, eco, sport, sand, snow, and tow. Oh, I got them all. But put it in sport mode and get it on the road, and I'm so happy that finally we are getting it on the road. We've driven it a ton off-road. Now, listen, I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. Everything here is pretty much exactly what you are going to expect from a Honda. The steering feels great. I like the weight of it, not a ton of dead spot on center. The steering wheel feels great in my hands. I think that the ride here, and actually I think Puerto Rico is a really great place to try this because the roads aren't necessarily perfect. The ride feels very comfortable, very much like what you would expect from a Honda. Although I will say this, there is a little bit of kind of a truck feeling to it. Not like over the top so much that you think, oh my gosh, what am I driving? What am I doing? But I think that's thanks in part to the knobby tires that you're gonna be driving on. They're a little bit more aggressive, these general grabbers, and they really do give you that kind of a little just extra, like a little bit of a roughness to the drive, which if you're buying this to do some off-road stuff, then you're going to expect that and you're going to appreciate it. But otherwise, it's eating up all kinds of imperfections in the road. Going slowly, going quickly, it's very, very comfortable. Acceleration on the V6 feels really linear to me. I like the way that everything is sort of put together. The brakes feel solid and very confident. I think as happy as you're going to be with how this is off-road, you're going to be equally happy with how it drives on the road when you're commuting every day instead of going off to your adventure. One other quick thing I'm going to say, visibility out of this thing is excellent. You do have that more upright stance with this design, and I literally can see out of every window over either shoulder, which I think is superb. The other thing I'm going to say too, we've had a couple of windy roads and it handles pretty well around turns. Not a ton of body roll. It feels as moderately composed as you would expect this vehicle to feel. Listen, it's a Honda. They've dialed this stuff in for so long. The Passport TrailSport, no different. Pricing on the Passport starts at $44,750, with the TrailSport edition, that is the middle trim, starting at $48,450. The TrailSport Elite with all the biz is $52,450. I can't stress enough how much you're getting on that TrailSport for less than 50 grand. This thing is beyond good if you're into getting outdoors. Honda's calling this thing's competitors, and wait for it, the Toyota 4Runner TRD Off-Road, the Jeep Grand Cherokee 4x4, and the Subaru Outback Wilderness. These are the competitors on their own list. Okay, the last one tracks to me, but those first two, that's a pretty ballsy move. I do believe this vehicle really is true to its category as in SUV. This is not just sort of a pretend thing where they slap a package on it. They started development on this new Passport as strictly a TrailSport model, and I think they do a bang up job. If you don't believe me, then head to your dealership now, take it for a test drive. I don't know if they have an off-road situation like I'm driving it in, but you'll see that they really do put their money where their mouth is. All right, I'm gonna get off this trail now and go grab a pina colada.